leave. The salespeople, simple salespeople for a product, they will not stay. The car salesmen, they will not stay. All those kind of sales, basic sales will not. That is, we're going to redefine lots of jobs.
Welcome back to another installment of the Next Gen Case Study Series. On today's episode, we have Omar Habbal, who is the co-founder and CEO of Context22, a leading company specializing in database traffic security analytics. With over 3 decades of experience in the tech industry, Omar's career began in the chip industry where he focused on crypto card and SIM card technologies. And I just learned that it was his lab that produced one of the first SIM cards that existed. Omar holds a master's in computer science and an MBA, which has bolstered his reputation as an insightful leader in both startups and corporate environments, which is why we're excited to have him on the show. Omar, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is exciting to actually get an opportunity to talk to somebody who quite literally pioneered some foundational technology that we all depend on day to day. Before we get too far into it, though, Omar, I'd love to kind of get from you a quick little couple of minutes on your background. You know, who you are, where you came from, and how you landed as the CEO of Context 22.
I started my career as a developer for chip card at that time, which is the smart card, what we call the smart card, what we have on our credit card and so here in the US now. And that's how I started my career. I have some patents on the chip card, and I was fortunate that I worked on the SIM card at that time and on the specification also. That's where in the beginning of year 90s, that's where the GSM started. After that, I moved to the US in '94, which is just to develop the smart card business here in the US, supporting companies and trying to have job pilots left and right. Unfortunately we did not succeed much because for the technology we did not just make it simple. The French people were not very good at selling. And we moved, and after that, I moved to back to France to work on the first mobile payment at that time, with using the SIM card as as a security device. And from there, I moved to Middle East, and I was in charge of one of the biggest projects of EMV, what we call, European Europay MasterCard and Visa, which is specification for the chip card on the payment. And we moved the whole country of Saudi Arabia from the magnetic stripe to the chip card, and was the program manager at that time. And that's one of my biggest achievements, because it was not that easy. I mean, It took us 3 years, but it was not that easy. And from there, I moved to the consulting using my MBA, knowledge. And so I moved to developing business models for telco companies. And after successful 10 years in the Middle East, we decided to come back to the US with my kids for college. That's where I started again on the startups. And time to time, I do some consulting to big companies, like what I did for Lumen, what I did for SecEdge, and so, which I focus on the innovation and the security most of the time. And I'm type of person which I think out of the box. I try to create things from scratch, and I love to do that. That's what I love to do.
So you were actively looking for problems to solve, and then seeing if there's ways you can create things to fix those problems. That's
Yeah, that's
quite
exactly what I love. And operation job, I will not take it because there is no much to, to solve or to innovate. And that's why I love to, to be on the innovation part. My motto, it's simple: innovation, innovation, innovation. That's it.
So I know, being a fellow creative, that there there comes a point in time where the creative process, where we're creating, innovating, we're solving problems, we're building, whatever it is, we have to stop doing that, and we have to shift our focus to making the connection between the thing we've created and the person or people or business who needs it. I wonder if you could speak to your approach in the early days, to how you kind of bridged that gap with, especially being, that you're a patent holder and somebody who, like, you've created some monumental technologies. So how do you go about pitching this and getting it to land for the right people?
There is a gap. I agree with you. There is like time gap between those two.
Hmm.
And usually, the how it works, it's like when you create something, it's most of the time, it's very, very rare where your creation will go to the application right away. It's
Hmm.
very, very rare. Okay. Those people who made that, they are genius for me. Okay. Those are really up there. Now, the gap is like when you are creative, and why did you create that? Because you had this idea and you feel like in the future we may have those issues, like my patents on security for the payment on the SIM card. I When people start saying, "Oh, we'll be paying our phone in the future," I said, "It is the risks." And I started thinking, and I put the patent there, and so it's fine. I had a fight with Nokia. I had a fight with Ericsson for my patent, but it's fine. That it's fair, and the market will take over. Which this patent, it may be used or not, because most of the patents are linked to the technology. Somebody can create another solution without going around your patents and so. But that's how we do it. Now, the new business, how we make it work is business models. It's This is something, that's what I said. I used my MBA when I went to the telco company, is how to make those innovation and those new things, making basically life easier for people and making money and growing the business.
So a lot of this starts with just being ahead of the curve, then, it sounds like. Just being aware of the current situation and having a little bit of foresight to be able to look ahead and say, hey, listen, this is the trajectory of the industry or the state of the union. And so I need to put something on that path in the future so
Yeah.
that when there is a collision of these ideas, you stand to gain from it in some capacity.
Yes, definitely. That's, for example, I'm working on something. I can just share that with you, with the cryptocurrency company, which is the blockchain company, which I'm working with them, how to make the crypto native on every chip, any IoT device, any chip, any card, anything. The crypto is ready over there, which basically there will be it's the crypto. It's for to move asset from point A to point B, okay, and securely. Now, this cryptocurrency, which is will be used as a fuel to move asset from A to B. What we know now is the payment moving from one side to the other side, or from merchant to consumer, consumer to merchant, consumer to consumer, and so on. And this is the idea is, how can we make every single device with the, be technical a little bit here, with the key pair That's every device can own cryptocurrency. And this device, it will be used, for example, take an example, I take a very simple example, which is the cameras. Okay, the cameras all over. When they try to move image from one side to the other side, it's moving a transaction. And when we move this transaction, we know the ownership. You can claim the ownership because it's your camera of whatever you generate from that camera. And no one can use whatever you generate from that camera, unless you give them the authorization to do it. And you own a piece of it because the transaction has a value on it, which is you own a piece of it. That's the most important thing, is like application on the healthcare, application everywhere. I mean, it's the healthcare will not share my, the results of my treatment with the pharma company unless they pay me, which is I own the transaction. That's exactly. It's a lot of way to do things. That's what I love to do.
Yeah, that connection between what we don't really necessarily see as a transaction, but could be classified as such, and then how the technology now ties into ownership, proof of ownership, the evidence on the blockchain, metadata, and all that other stuff that's kind of involved in that. I see how you're definitely putting something on a collision path
Yeah.
for whatever the future holds for that, which is really powerful. So when it comes to, bringing these ideas to market, what's your approach to this? Is this something that because I get that some of these solutions are more enterprise, right? So this is a business to business thing, and that's a different game than direct to consumer, where you're on a retail front. And so, what's your approach to generating revenue, or building a company around that?
Yeah. It's and I'll make it simple. I'll make
Mm.
it very simple. I would like to have my crypto, for example. Okay, my crypto on every single chip is coming from NVIDIA, Qualcomm, Intel, and so, which is NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and all these people. They can say, okay, our chip, they already have some crypto on them. You can just securely move assets from one device, from your device where the chip is embedded, from your phone, for example, from your PC, from your camera, doesn't matter, to somewhere else. That's exactly one of the elements, which is we can monetize that by having for every device, every IoT device with just take example of NVIDIA, but it couldn't be any other chip, ARM, NVIDIA, whatever, name them, Qualcomm, Intel. I don't think Intel will listen to me, but
Oh, that would be their mistake.
well, it's no, it's they are too big to, they follow they have another strategy. They don't have the innovation strategy anymore. They have the operation strategy. They are optimizing how to. It's another strategy, different strategy. Doesn't matter. That's by having that. This could be just a license, or they will have to buy a crypto from me if I decide to launch a crypto company. They will have to buy a crypto from me, and this crypto, they will be making money also based on this crypto, because when they don't have enough crypto, the owner will buy crypto and they will get the money also. And it's like even the chip vendors, they will be renting their device instead of selling it, because this functionality, it's life. It's still, as long as you have your device working. And so if you don't have a fuel anymore, you have to fuel it. You have to fuel your device. And that's the beauty of it, which is the chip manufacturers, they will see the advantage of it.
Right. It's a longer term, more sustainable revenue generator.
Yes, exactly.
I'm with you there. So, what sorts of challenges, I guess, are you facing in terms of kind of bringing an idea like this to life? I would love to kind of get your perspective on that.
It's a big challenge. First of all, it's I like to be in the seat of creativity, innovation, being challenged by the technologists and so. And I try to find partners that they can talk on my behalf, and they can build business behind that with those, potential partners and so. And that's my idea. And just talking about Context 22, for example, what we are doing in Context 22, I didn't talk about it, but it's something because now we can talk because the patent is pending, is for the auditor, for example, on what's going on here in the access database, okay, the traffic in database. And so we have auditors. You have to be certified HIPAA if you are doing any health issue. You have to be certified PCI DSS if you are doing any payment, and so on. GDPR for personal assets, and so. Now, how the auditors they work. They come to your office. They look at who did access to this data, who did that, and they have their techniques, and they try to look at the history of why this guy did this. And so there are some techniques and there are some functions that they have to verify based on what HIPAA and PCI, for example, they give them as rules. Now, what we have done, we just included an MLL on that product called the product. Even we didn't update it on our website because they were waiting for this patent. Now we are going to update that. We're embedding kind of ChatGPT in that product, which people, they will just ask the database if anybody did something. It's not PCI DSS compatible, or is there any potential that somebody is doing a lot of transactions that it will create a threat for accessing a database, and so things like that, which is just in English. You don't have to know the whole database or the whole structure of database, but just asking questions, and it will be really facilitate the work for the auditors and even for the business owners, because they will be checking their databases, and so without asking for auditors every time, they can check before the auditors come.
Right.
That's what I love to do.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, in terms of determining whether or not you're on the right track, what kind of metrics do you use to help kind of guide that process? Once you've kind of brought something to market, or you're bringing it out, or it's ready to go, do you lean on having a third party team kind of manage some of that stuff? Do you build an in-house team? What does that look like for the work that you're doing?
I'm going to my strategy, because I am not very young. I'm old enough, and my strategy is to put things together to start the company and to move it to somebody who can run it in the future. Okay, which I'll build the team, I'll build the partner. If I have to sell it to a big company, it's fine. I'll sell it to the big company, but I prefer that to build it and to give it to someone to take it over, because I would like to step down and to go to what I love to do, which is creativity, and so on, move from one subject to the other subject. That's what I would like to do in the future.
Yeah, so the focus now is on just spending time doing the stuff that you love and handing the hard work or different work over to other people so that you can stay focused.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. There's there's a necessity. I read this book recently called Rocket Fuel, and it talks about two different kinds of people. Some people are visionaries and creators, and other people are integrators who kind of bring that vision and propel it forward. And so
Yes.
you to have your place in the world as the visionary or creative, I think is such a fascinating goal because it's not one that's very tangible and it's not one that's very easy to reach. And so the
Yeah.
work that you've done to achieve that is admirable. Um, Omar, as we kind of come to a close with our time together here, I wonder if maybe we could look a little bit forward into the future and just speculate a little bit on what you see coming down the pipeline in terms of new technologies, new tools, new ideas outside of the obvious ones that you've already shared with us.
I think I some people will disagree with me, but I'm going to say it just simple because I think a lot out of the box.
Hmm.
Uh, the computer science, a lot of people are saying with ChatGPT, and so the programmer they will be dying and so on. There is something very interesting here. You know, in the 80s, it we were just or at the end of 80s, beginning of 90s, programming was about optimization. We don't have a lot of RAM, not a lot of hard drive. We had to develop the whole OS in 64 kilobit, okay,
Hmm.
on the chip. And we have to optimize things. And after suddenly, the prices of the chips, they went down like hell. And people, they said, okay, just program it. If it works, put it there and it's run and sell it. And that's what's happened, which is you see all the programs, oh, everybody is asking for 8 gig, 16 gig, you know, 200 gig in your hard drive. And so that's what people are, because the chip is now, we cannot go further because the technology is reaching its limit. The technology of the chip, the way it's reaching the limit, was going like this. Now it's going like this. Now we have to go back and to optimize whatever we have done before. That's why I do believe that smart people, the computer science people, will go back, and those people, they will survive. The one they will take all those software they has been everywhere and being optimized, because this is something that's it's going. And for the technology, I do believe is the AI will take big part of our life. It will take big part of our life. It's already doing that with ChatGPT and so, and a lot of jobs, they will have to be redefined. I'm not the I do believe on human being, because who create that is us, and I think we are smart enough not to shoot ourselves. Okay,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
we are smart enough not to kill ourselves, which is, and for ethical reason, we are going to keep this world running, and the and the jobs, they will be redefined. You know, for example, I see the brokers will disappear for sure.
Right.
The brokers between the people, they are between A and B, they will disappear unless they do some modeling, or they try to work a deal, or to redevelop the deal and to adjust the deal, and so that they will stay. But the people who are bringing Mr. X with Mr. Y, those people, they will leave. The salespeople, simple salespeople for a product, they will not stay. The car salesman, they will not stay. All those kind of sales, basic sales, will not. That is, we are going to redefine a lot of jobs.
Yeah, that I'm really feeling the sting of that one because there's certain things that I was really, really good at that now ChatGPT or, relevant tools are almost as good as me. And I hate to say it,
Yeah.
Omar, but this is the worst the technology is ever going to be. So we're only going to get better from here. And I don't imagine having too many hiccups along the way here. Although, that being said, there was a very questionable period there where the video output of AI was a little bit nightmarish. But we're almost so over that hurdle, and there's a lot of new things that are kind of coming out of the woodwork that are promising. The one thing that stood out to me was in an interview that I watched with Elon Musk, he was talking about the Neuralink thing. And he said that the real we're already cyborgs in that the way we have technology and we're attached to it. The problem is that when we interface with it, we have a very uh, high latency between our ability to input and communicate with that device, right? Because we have to type it out with our fingers and thumbs versus if you were to just have that thought come out of your mind and then be executed in some sort of way. So we're coming up to some pretty remarkable times here, I think, and the work that you're doing, Omar, is I think feeding that. And I'm very present to the idea that the people that are at the front lines usually get the bloodiest, but it seems to me that you are a warrior in soul and spirit, and you're going to keep fighting for the good side of things here. So on behalf of anybody that's listening or watching, I got to thank you for at least that part of the work that you're doing, Omar.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Really, I appreciate that.
So in closing here, I wonder if maybe you could, real quick, just share with others who are out there trying to innovate or be creative, one piece of advice that maybe helped you, keep going and lead the charge.
Okay. When you have an idea, do not run the business model before.
Mm.
Never do that. Just don't run the business model before putting the idea to get check exactly, put it there and see when it's done, because the business people, they will just change your way of thinking. Okay. And it's very important. When you have an idea, you just go with it. Do not check with anyone who has other views than you, because it doesn't work. You will not focus on your idea, and the idea will be biased basically. And don't do that. That's the only thing I can say. If just go stay on it, do whatever you have to do on it. When it's clean, just put it there, and don't check with one person. Put it there and let other people challenge you, not one person or two. And so just put it there and let people challenge. You will feel like, okay, there are people with you and there are people against you, it gives you some kind of pride that's push you more, because you have people that's supporting your idea.
Let the idea lead. I love that, Omar. That's very powerful. If somebody wanted to reach out to you to pick your brain further or perhaps work with you, what's the best way to do that?
I mean, just send an email.
Very accessible man.
Just send
Well,
an email. I will not promise you that I will get back to you right away, but I'll get back to you for sure.
definitely.
I don't delete emails. It just usually when people they bug me and I just either I send them, please stop. I will not be able to help you or so, and I'm not interested. And I don't delete email. If somebody is just bothering, I just send. I have a phrase that's just I put there, which is "Thank you very much. Please do not send an email again."
Fair enough. So we'll make sure to make sure that you're accessible in the show notes when we release the episode here. And on that note, if you wanted to get in touch with me and my team for any of your marketing needs, you can visit nextgengrowth.com. Otherwise, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us for this conversation, and I will see you in the next.